Titan Gym, Fullerton, California. Tonight, KDOC Sports presents NCAA Gymnastics as Cal State Fullerton entertains UCLA. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Harvey, and working alongside me tonight will be KDOC's gymnastics expert, Carol Johnston. And Carol, an opportunity to see some performers headed possibly for the 1984 Olympics.
Yes, the UCLA men's team has Peter Vidmar and Tim Daggett, and they are definitely contenders for the 1984 Olympic team for men's gymnastics.
On the other side of the coin, Lynn Rogers and the Cal State Fullerton women's team has not lost here in Titan Gym in 7 years, but Lynn says there is a definite possibility that if his performers are not on tonight, the winning streak could come to an end.
These teams are so evenly matched, it could go either way on either event. It could be just one event or one person, come down to one person who makes a mistake, and that could decide the meet. So it would be really exciting to watch the girls to see if they're up for the meet and to see if they can hit their routines.
Lynn Rogers' squad is coming off a victory last week against the University of Manitoba. Meanwhile, Dick Wolf's men's squad beaten last week by Brigham Young University. Going to come back in a moment. Carol and I will be talking to Dick Wolf, head coach of the men's gymnastics team here at Cal State Fullerton, as KDOC's coverage continues after this timeout.
"22 years ago, John Connell started Connell Chevrolet with the intention of giving Orange County the best service and selection of Chevrolets. Now, 22 years later, Pat Connell carries on the family tradition of great service and selection at Connell Chevrolet. Come in now and take advantage of Connell's 11.9% financing on any new 1983 Chevrolet. Connell Chevrolet, 2828 Harbor Boulevard in beautiful Costa Mesa.
The seed of faith is all it takes to move the mountains in your life. It can move the mountains in your life. It can move the mountains in your life.
Kenneth Copeland teaches how you can live in victory through the power of faith on this station each Sunday morning at 8.
Faith can move the mountains in your life.
Discover Orange County. Make TV 56 your station. Hello, I'm Mike Villani, and I'm pleased to tell you that the Pat Boone Christmas special was such a success that we're going to do it again with the Pat Boone Valentine's Day special on Monday night, February 14th at 7 p.m. During the show, Pat will be giving away many beautiful gifts, including a 7-day Princess Cruise for two to the Mexican Riviera and an exquisite 14-karat gold diamond ring. Now, to enter, all you have to do is send a postcard with your name, address, and phone number to KDOC, Post Office Box 56 TV, Anaheim, California, 92803. Only one entry per household, please. Then to win, be watching the Pat Boone Valentine's Day special on Monday night, February 14th at 7 p.m., when Pat will draw the lucky cards and call the winners personally. You must receive the call to win. Enter today. Send your card to KDOC, Post Office Box 56 TV, Anaheim, California, 92803.
This is Dick Wolf, 15th year, head coach of the men's gymnastics program at Cal State Fullerton. A man who at one time took to wearing a sandwich board, walking around campus to promote the sport. You still do that with a sandwich board?
Well, I think we have a pretty good following right now, and the sandwich boards are no longer necessary. So.
Okay, Dick, it is a big, big meet tonight for you. UCLA, one of the top 2 or 3 gymnastics programs in the United States. How do you feel, how does your squad feel about going up against the Bruins?
We feel excited. We're going to be competing alongside of world-class competitors tonight. Peter Vidmar, Tim Daggett. It's going to be really an exciting meet. My veterans are set for the challenge, and my freshmen will just have to wait and see.
Be a big night for the freshmen, won't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Talk about some of your gymnasts. Andy Pacho, I was impressed with Andy last week against Brigham Young.
Andy Pacho's, we're going to go for all the marbles again on floor, meaning we're going to shoot for a 9.7, 9.8. His mount is very, very difficult. He does flip-flop double back, flip-flop full. You have to watch it. But it's very exciting, and he's a very dynamic performer.
What exactly will you need from your team tonight to upset UCLA?
I have no intention of upsetting UCLA. I told my team I just want them to do what we're prepared to do, and that means do it when the judge is looking. So,
all right. Good luck to you tonight.
Thank you very much.
Dick Wolf, head coach, men's gymnastics program at Cal State Fullerton. Carol and I will be coming right back to take a look at some of the performers in tonight's meet when KDOC's coverage continues after this timeout.
Miami's Orange Bowl, the scene of many of football's greatest performances. Making it here requires talent. Making it to the Hall of Fame requires great talent. Hi, I'm Bob Greasy for the Sporting News. The complete record of every man who made it into football's Hall of Fame is here in the Hall of Fame Fact Book. Hundreds of pages of pictures, awards, and honors, records and achievements of the greatest of the greats. And it's yours free when you subscribe to the Sporting News, the Sports Bible. When we in the broadcast booth and our very big friends on the field want the no-nonsense, in-depth details of every game, we know where to turn to the Sporting News. Since 1886, the Sporting News has given the athletes and the fans the inside and behind-the-scenes stories of all the Big Four action sports: football, baseball, basketball, and hockey every single week of the year, plus highlights of soccer, boxing, auto racing, golf, tennis, and all the rest. To cover the fast and complicated world of big-time sports, we have to be as close to the action as possible. More than 40 feature writers cover major sporting events all over the country, reporting on the scene where the action is. To love sports is to love the Sporting News, the Sports Bible. You get the Sporting News at the low basic rate of just 45 cents an issue, 29 issues for the basic subscription price of $12.99. That's a savings of more than $30 off the $1.50 single copy price and over $7 off the regular subscription price. Why don't you subscribe today? Here's a friend to tell you how.
To subscribe to the Sporting News, just call this toll-free number, 1-800-453-9002. That's 1-800-453-9002. You pay only $12.99 for 29 issues. And the Hall of Fame Fact Book with hundreds of pages of pictures, awards and honors, records and achievements of the greatest of the greats is yours free with your paid subscription. So call now. That's 1-800-453-9002. That's 1-800-453-9002.
Back at Titan Gin, Bob Harvey and Carol Johnston here on KDOC Channel 56 with a dual meet tonight between the UCLA men's and women's squad and the men's and women's squads from Cal State Fullerton. Let's talk a little bit about the records. Coming in, obviously, you know a lot about the UCLA men's program, the fact that they have some big names headed for the 1984 Olympics. You're looking at the UCLA squad. The women of UCLA come into this action tonight with a couple of victories, defeating USC and the University of Arizona, and their one loss came against Arizona State University. So at least they have something in common with Cal State Fullerton, because the only loss for Lynn Rogers' women's squad this year was to Arizona State University in the Aloha Festival. Carol, how would you compare this UCLA women's team to the Cal State Fullerton team?
It's very close. Both teams have excellent gymnasts on. I might say UCLA has some nationally ranked women gymnasts on their team. So does Cal State Fullerton. It depends on who has the better night, what event goes wrong or well for each team. It's very close.
The men of UCLA coming into this meet tonight are undefeated at 3-0. They have defeated Long Beach State, Long Beach City, and Arizona State. And talking to Dick Wolf, he said UCLA has got to be one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the country.
That's right. They're ranked top 3 in the country, and last year they were ranked second in the nation. So you know that they're a building team. They've got a lot of freshmen on their team and a couple of seniors.
Let's go now to the public address announcer here at Cal State Fullerton, Mark Landon, for tonight's introductions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cal State Fullerton for tonight's double dual gymnastics meet. Tonight, the Bruins of UCLA take on your Cal State Fullerton Titans. And now let's meet the gymnasts competing in tonight's event. First from UCLA, Robbie Campbell, Eric Gaspard, Chris Casso, Peter Vidmar, Tim Daggett, Luke Turling, Kirby Reel, assistant coach Makoto Sakamoto, and head coach of the Bruins, Art Sherlock. And now let's meet the ladies from UCLA. Kim Berry, Gigi Ambandos, Janet Ferrari, Chris Montera, Tracy Curtis, Donna Kemp, Ann Kitabayashi, Deanne Kulos, assistant coaches Valerie Condos and Scott Bull, head coach of the Bruins Jerry Tomlinson. And now let's meet your Cal State Fullerton Titans. First the men, Pat Cummings, Bob DeVito, Greg Hall, David Higgins, Tim Klumpnauer, Tom Pace, Andy Pacho, Joe Rapp, Doug Van Everen, trainer of the Titans, Jose Gomez, assistant coach, Ron Howard, and head coach, Dick Wolf. And now let's meet the Lady Titans, Ronnie Barrios, Kim Fischler, Julie Goey, Danita Klein, Lynn Olson, Tanya Rogers, Julie Walsh, Chris Weber, trainer Sandy Schultz, dance coach Susan Cable, assistant coaches Patty Merrill and Breck Greenwood, and head coach of the Titans, Lynn Rogers. And now, gymnasts, you may prepare to warm up for your first event.
Thank you, Mark Landon, for the introduction of tonight's performers and a very enthusiastic and large crowd here tonight at Titan Gym. Did you hear the little girl screaming in the background for Lynn Rogers when they introduced him? He's got his own fan club here, doesn't he?
That's right. After 7 years, he's really built it up. I can't believe the crowd tonight. They've had to pull out the other side of the bleachers to make everyone fit in here.
Did that happen often during your career when you were here?
Every once in a while, for a large meet against UCLA, some school that's very close and large. But that's pretty exciting to see so early in the season also.
We're going to come back and take a look at our first action of the night at the school meet between UCLA and Cal State Fullerton as KDOC's NCAA gymnastics coverage continues in a moment.
Strong, flexible, and heatable.
KDOC Channel 56, Bob Harvey and Carol Johnston. And in a moment, you're going to be treated to some very exciting gymnastics. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Carol Johnston is absolutely petrified tonight. She's not worried about herself. You're really feeling some sympathy pains for your teammates or ex-teammates, huh?
Oh, I am. I'm so nervous tonight because I know how tough a meet it is, and I can remember how excited I used to get when I was competing against UCLA because it is a tough meet, and the girls have to hit. They have no choice. There can't be any let-up in any of the team members competing tonight.
Lynn Rogers paid you a compliment earlier. We were talking about the meet tonight, and he said, you know, the girls on my team this year are more concerned really than I am with keeping this home winning streak alive because they feel the pressure of the great performers like Carol Johnston and the girls responsible for this 7-year winning streak. So they're They're putting the pressure on themselves tonight. It should be a whale of a match between Fullerton and UCLA and the women. And I think most of the folks here, and probably you would agree too, that this is the cream of the crop as far as the men go.
Yes, I would. They're nationally ranked. They're hopefuls for the 1984 Olympics. And we're going to see some exciting gymnastics and good routines tonight.
The first performer in the vault for the Cal State Fullerton women, Julie Walsh. And again, we want to remind you that as far as the women events go, particularly the vault, they get 2 attempts and will take obviously the best score.
That's right. Here you see Julie completing her full twist off the horse. She did a quarter on and full twist off. She had a good landing.
The Cal State Fullerton women of Lynn Rogers with a record of 5-1 this year. Their only loss coming to Arizona State.
Lynn Olson is up right now, and she's thinking about her vault. And she's going to chalk up, and that takes the sweat off your hands. When you're nervous, you have a little bit of perspiration on your hands, and that just relieves it so you don't slip when you hit the vaulting horse.
I believe that you could get a uniform on Carol Johnston, and she would probably get a 9-9 on the floor exercise tonight.
Well, I've got enough adrenaline running right now.
This is a big night, and how can you equate it? I guess if you're a basketball fan, this is like playing Virginia or North Carolina. If you're a football player, it's like playing USC or Alabama.
That was a very nice vault. She had a lot of push-off. She completed her somi very quickly and landed very high.
Lynn Olson, another look.
She hits the board very hard. She gets really well onto the horse, and look at that drive off the horse.
Boy, that is beautiful camera work from Mark Bowden, one of our talented KDOC camera people tonight.
Okay, now we're looking at UCLA on bars. Free hip to a handstand. She had a little bit of a problem. Okay, she didn't quite get all the way around, and she was too far. She wasn't over her hands, and it just pulled her off.
Really tonight, every mistake, every move that is not made or made incorrectly is going to be magnified because this meet is just so close.
That's right. As I was saying before, it could come down to a fall on beam or a fall on bars. That's how close it can be. Last year, there was a meet so close that they thought it was a tie, and it wasn't. But it's like 0.1, which isn't even a bent leg in some routines.
Now, we believe that we're looking at Kim Berry, and I'm sure we will be corrected at the truck if this is not Kim Berry, for UCLA. The women of Cal State Fullerton, the women of UCLA, and the men led by Peter Vidmar and company. And Dick Wolf said that there are 3, possibly 4, 1984 Olympians on this UCLA men's team. We move now to the
He just finished his routine.
Floor exercise. The UCLA men getting the congratulations there.
It's a very large team. You can see how many team members. They have a couple of specialists on that team, which helped pull their score up.
The floor exercise a moment ago done by Eric Gaspard. Now we go to the pommel horse, and we're looking at the first Cal State Fullerton male performer of the evening.
He's working very well. He had a little break there. He's going into his scissors. Slowed down. He's not getting as much amplitude as he should.
That's Pat Cummings you're looking at. Pat is a junior from Las Vegas, Nevada.
His feet are apart. There's a form break. Good routine. That was a pretty good routine. Very minor breaks. Dick Wolf.
Now we will switch back. And folks, you had better buckle your seats because we're going to be driving fast here tonight through this gymnastics meet. Switching from meet to meet. Getting a chance to see a little bit of everything here tonight. And with a dual meet, you're going to see here in a crowd anyway, they're watching 4 different events all going on at the same time. Here's Julie Goey.
She's doing a full-on, full-off. A little bit of trouble with her landing, but on the whole, it was a very good vault. It wasn't excellent. She could have gotten more height on it, but it was well done.
Will this be a night that Fullerton women will have to come up with some excellent performances?
There will have to be some excellent beam routines. That's their weakness. They do have to pull. They can't have a weak event like beam, which they've had, and being able to still win with a weak event. Tonight, they will have to hit beam and hit bars.
This is Chris Weber, very attractive young lady and one of the fine vaulters on the Cal State Fullerton squad.
That's right. Chris is going to do a handspring front. She's been working on it.
Right there is a good look at the intensity. That's Tanya Rogers coming in and whispering a few words of confidence to her.
That's right. It always helps when your teammate comes over and maybe tells you something to do or just relax, and it always helps. That's the last thing you remember before you vault.
Do you ever tell jokes in a situation like that?
Sometimes.
Good, good.
Yeah, to release the pressure.
The man you saw a moment ago, Brett Greenwood, coming into your picture, the assistant coach of the Titans.
Here goes Chris. She's running fast. That's a good sign. Nice vaults. Good landing.
Chris Webber.
It all comes down to the run in vaulting. If it's fast and very strong, chances are that you will have a good vault. It's when it's slow and there's a little problem with the footing or something, that's when you have problems with your vault. Look at the height. She completes her rotation a little bit low, but she still was able to save it.
All right, Chris Webber, her best mark this year on the vault is a 9.3. The top Titan vaulter, at least from a mark standpoint, Tanya Rogers, who earlier this year received a 9.5. Titans scored 184.45 points against the University of Manitoba. They will have to beat that or at least match it, I would think, to defeat UCLA.
That's right. UCLA has scored, their high score is 183.65. So it's going to be very close. Here comes Chris again. A little bit slower that time. Nice vault. She landed very high. She's happy about that. So is Lynn.
All right.
And I was talking a little bit earlier how much adrenaline I have. These girls out there have so much, and that makes them run faster and push off a little bit harder. And that gives them more time to do a perfect landing like Chris just did.
Now, that is not always good, is it, to have that much adrenaline?
It always helps. Sometimes it can get too much, but usually in cases like that, it's good to have. This is Peter Vidmar on floor. He's a hopeful for the 1984. Just did a double back in tuck position. He's not very tall. He's
no, he
very
isn't.
small.
He isn't.
Of course, I'm not one to talk about that.
Vidmar is a very good bet to win a gold medal in the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles.
That's right. And it's not that far away anymore.
No.
It's only a year away. So next year he'll be priming for that, the trials. They've already qualified for elite competitions and qualifications. Now getting ready for his last tumbling pass into the corner. It's going to show some balance. That's called a scale, and it's very difficult for a male gymnast to do. Run up back handspring, double pike. It's too bad that he had that slip in the beginning.
Peter Vidmar, when you talk UCLA gymnastics, I guess really the name that comes to mind would be Kurt Thomas. Would be the first name you would think of. Just an excellent gymnast.
Right.
Unlucky that he was unable to compete in the 1980 Olympics.
That's right. 1980 was very hard on some athletes when they knew it was their last chance.
Peter Vidmar of UCLA. And now we go to the UCLA women.
She's working bars very aggressively. Toe on, common each off, over the low bar. Very nice. There you see the assistant coach, Scott Bull.
It's amazing as we look now at Tanya Rogers getting ready for the vault. It's amazing. It seems to be just a little community, well, not a little community anymore, I guess, of gymnasts, people who have performed, people who are now performing. You know the coaches, they know you, and you've been out of gymnastics competition since, what, 1979, 1980?
Yeah, 1980. It is very small. It's grown so much in the last couple of years, though. There's still... When you're a good coach, you stick around for a long time. The turnover is not high, and that's why we all know each other. Oh, fairly good dismount. She landed with her legs straight. That's a little hard on the body. The knees and the back they get jammed. But she was high enough, and she did save them.
Lynn Rogers apparently believes she has the kind of body that can take a landing like that. He says this is the strongest
Look at that speed coming down there.
You said, huh? Look at that.
Watch her push off the horse, and up she goes. She's about 3 feet above the horse. That's 7 feet in the air, for people who don't know.
That would be like jumping over Ozell Jones if he was standing out here on the basketball court.
I think Ozell should be a gymnastic coach. She's tall enough.
Tanya Rogers now awaiting her second vault. Keep in mind that the judges award 2 scores and naturally the best score going in.
Those are the key scores for the floor.
We will bring you up to date on the scoring here in just a moment. The scores are in for the UCLA men and their floor exercise.
Here goes Tanya. Again, lots of speed. Nice vault. Oh, that was perfect.
Well, there's another hug for Lynn Rogers. Now, he is going to have to go some to beat his hug record of a week ago, but he's well on his way.
Okay, now watch this vault. It is close to perfection. She gets in, very powerful. Look, she's off the horse as quick as she can. Up in the air, tucked position, nice and tight, and the landing. One little hop.
We await the score now for Tanya Rogers in the vault. And again, if we apologize because we are a little slow in getting you the score. It is because they flashed the score to everybody in the crowd except the people at press table.
Here's the last competitor for UCLA on floor.
His name is Tim Daggett.
Splits. Does a dance move to a straddle press, handstand, to pirouette. Now these guys are making their pirouettes look so easy in the corners, but they're not. It takes a lot of strength and balance. Get into the corner for his tumbling. Nice pose. Taking a couple of breaths before he goes into his last tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double back. He had to pull his legs apart, but that helps rotation. Nice landing.
Okay, we switch now again to see the UCLA women in action here.
Common each off. Very close to the bars. That's Donna Camp.
So the UCLA women and the Cal State Fullerton ladies expecting to be just very, very close all night long in all events, really, while the Cal State Fullerton men with a golden opportunity to compete actually against maybe the premier gymnastics team in America, UCLA. By the way, Tanya Rogers' vault a moment ago, her highest vault mark of the year, a 9.6.
That's right. That's exciting.
We've got a break in the action here at Cal State Fullerton NCAA Gymnastics on Channel 56 KDOC, and we'll have more from Titan Gym right after this timeout. KDOC Channel 56, coverage of tonight's meet between Cal State Fullerton and UCLA. Let's give you the scores after one event. First of all, for the ladies, Fullerton leading with a score of 46.35 on the vault. UCLA received a 45.6 on the uneven bars, and that is exactly where Cal State Fullerton is going right now. As far as the men, as expected, UCLA 46.15, Fullerton 42.50, about what you would expect after one event for the men.
Yes, that's very high. Here we have Julie Walsh on bars. She's working very well. She hasn't had any mistakes. Her form has been good. She's been very clean. Nice tight handstand. Getting ready for a dismount, toe on, common each off. A little bit twisted in her flight, but that was a great routine.
Julie Walsh, who opened the evening with a 9.2, her best score on the vault. We have a moment here. Let's give you the vault scores. Olson a 8.8, Goey a 9.2, Weber a 9.3, Ronnie Barrios a 9.3, and Tanya Rogers a beautiful 9.6.
That's right. The only problem with those scores is that I can see the 8.8 may be a problem. If it was a 9, it would be a better indication of what's going to happen.
Julie Walsh right here.
Here you can see the power that she needs to get up into a handstand. She straddles. She fights it just a tiny bit up into a nice tight handstand. She beats the bar. Long hang kip. Getting ready for a dismount. You can see right here, she's not quite around. She's a little bit sideways.
So perhaps a little bit of a deduction on the landing then.
Probably about 0.2 because her shoulders weren't square and it wasn't perfect. It wasn't a square, her hips and shoulders facing the bar.
We're looking now at Chris Weber. And Chris is a math major, a sophomore here at Cal State Fullerton from Fountain Valley.
She's been sick this season so far, and she just missed a handstand. It's a pop, and she changes her hands. There she goes. She did it to a front flip on the outside of the bars. It's too bad that she missed that. That's a large deduction. Another handstand to a beat, to a free hip. Oh, she had another miss. This could really hurt Fullerton. They needed this routine to help with the team total.
In case you haven't noticed, Carol Johnston is really pumped up for this meet tonight with UCLA. This is a big one.
Now she let those 2 breaks get to the end of her routine. She couldn't come back and finish strong. Sometimes you can.
Routine of Chris Weber. You like soap operas?
Do I like soap operas? Yes.
Okay, we'll watch Another Life and Romance Theater. A full hour of love and romance. Weekdays beginning at 9 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. right here on KDOC TV, Channel 56. And I wonder what happened to Luke. That's probably another soap opera, though, isn't it?
I think so.
Okay, here's Chris Weber again.
Okay, there you can see she really had a lot of momentum. She overshot, and she wasn't over her hands on the bar. That's too bad.
The score you saw a moment ago is her highest score in this event on the year. That was recorded at the Aloha Fest. Now going to the vault, and this is UCLA performing, and obviously some problem there with the landing.
That's right. She wasn't as high as she should have been. This girl is very large for a gymnast, but she is very aggressive, and she's really worked hard. I was talking to the coach. She's worked really hard, and he feels that she's probably one of the largest and the strongest gymnasts in the United States for competing for a college team right now.
Tell me this, is the chance to compete against the Cal State Fullerton women the same feeling that the UCLA women get, that the men of Cal State Fullerton get going against the UCLA men?
No.
Do you understand that?
I think what you're trying to say is, are the feelings the same of the Cal State Fullerton men going against UCLA, where they know that it's a good team?
Right, national power.
Right.
National champion a few years ago.
No, in fact, it's even worse for the women because they're so close. It could go either way. There's a lot of tension in the air. You can feel it. The crowd's excited tonight. Another vault, layout pike, Suk pike.
This is now the second event for each of the teams here tonight. The men compete in 6 events, the women in 4.
Here you see, her feet were very far apart. That wasn't the best form, and she landed very low.
KDOC Channel 56, NCAA Gymnastics from Titan Gymnasium, and a very large crowd. We've got people sitting in almost all of the bleacher areas that they have opened up.
Here's Danita. She's concentrating on what she has to do. That's very important.
Donita Klein seeing Chris Weber have some problems on the bars a moment ago. Certainly trying to block that out of her mind and concentrate on her routine.
That's right. Danita's been working on trying to think that this routine is just like another workout routine with no pressure. Let's see if she can do it. Full pirouette on bar. In bar kip. She's moving very well. Free hip handstand. Toe on dismount. Nice routine. Oh, that was so nice. I guess it's working for her.
She's happy, and there's Tuffy. He wants a hug. Donita Klein, another look.
You see her straddle? Her feet were slightly apart at the end. She has to work on that, but that's a very difficult movement. Up to a handstand. Again, she had problems the first meet, but she's come back the last 2 meets and performed it perfectly. Her feet are together and tight. Nice lift, amplitude on that in-bar hip. Power, free hip. Now she arched it back a little bit there, but she was able to pull it back. And front dismount.
Boy, that looks like it would be just a tremendous strain on the arms.
It's on the arms, but there's a lot of swing, so when you hit bottom, that's where the pull becomes.
Floor exercises now. Cal State Fullerton's Andy Pacho, and this is his specialty. This is the one he does the best.
That's right.
The average is to the right.
Oh, a little bit low landing to a headstand spin. So far, he's working very well. Here goes his V press to straddle splits. Pulling up into a handstand. Backing into the corner. Taking a breath before he tumbles again. It's so important to get your breathing down. Side to a front.
There's a little bit of the dance coming into the exercise right there, too.
That's right. That's what men are bringing more dance into their routines to connect their tumbling passes. Run up, back handspring, double full twist. Nice routine.
Andy Pacho.
And he waves to the crowd.
Head coach Dick Wolf says Andy is a potential All-American in that event for Cal State Fullerton.
That's right. Look at that tour jeté. He's full split. Now that is very difficult. Most women don't do that.
Baryshnikov could not have done it any better, in fact.
Andy's the one that started working out in a women's gymnastics with women's equipment, and I think that shows up very much in his routines. The dance, the connecting moves, and the leaps.
Junior Andy Pacho from Yuma, Arizona. Again, this is the second event for all of the teams tonight, and we're looking at the pommel horse and UCLA, and that's Vidmar.
That's Vidmar. I want to mention something he was doing earlier. He was standing, and he was going through his routine mentally. He wasn't working the pommels, but he was moving his hands, and he was actually feeling what it would feel like on the pommel. And obviously, it just worked because he completed a very good routine.
Well, there was a very high score. Now we go to the vault, and a rather unladylike landing.
She was very low. She landed very low, and her feet slipped out from under her. Let's see what happens. The assistant coach giving her a hug.
They shake it off, and better days are coming, huh?
That's right.
KDOC has the fun way to start your evening. Weekdays beginning at 4:30. Watch Gomer Pyle, followed by McHale's Navy at 5, then Dick Van Dyke at 5:30, right here on KDOC TV, Channel 56, your Orange County sports station.
We're looking at the UCLA team right now. They're walking down back to the vaulting. They'll be preparing for the next event, which will be floor.
Right, so we have completed 2 events for each team here this evening. We will get the scores on the second round.
Okay, Ronnie is chalking up right now. She's getting ready to go on to bars.
In fact, as we look at the roster here, Carol, I believe Ronnie is last in the lineup for the Titans on bars. We will double check. Well, Ronnie Barrios and then Julie Goey, and then we will have completed 2 events each for each team.
Tanya Rogers went before this, and she had an excellent routine. They were very pleased. They were yelling over there, so.
As Carol has told you, the intensity is at a fever pitch tonight. It is electric in the air here at Titan
She's
Gym.
moving so well. Here comes her move, handstand to a flip, which is called a Jaeger, right into a kip catch. She has just been having excellent workouts all week, in fact, all year. Almost to a handstand, dismount. Nice routine. Technically, I couldn't see anything wrong with it. If I was a judge, I'd have problems scoring it. There wasn't anything to deduct. Look at her feet together on that beat. Watch her hand change. right into a kip up. Here she goes. Look at the power. Look at that bar bend right there. She hops, does a change of her hand grip, right down. Look at the momentum. She comes through the bottom. She uses that to flip back up toward the bar, and then drops down out of it.
Ronnie Barrios, coming into this meet, had the highest score on the uneven bars at a 9.6. She could be very close to that mark with this exercise.
I think Ronnie has the highest score right now because her routine is ready. She has worked it. The other girls are still doing movements on the bars that they're not ready for, and they have some falls and some mistakes. But I would imagine by nationals they should be all doing routines like Ronnie.
A tremendous recruiting year for Lynn Rogers with this freshman class. Ronnie Barrios, Kim Fischler, Donita Klein, a young lady who we haven't had an opportunity to see, Sheila Minsky, also a freshman, and Shelley Prouty, a freshman, and Tanya Rogers, a freshman, and Jackie Werner, a freshman. What a talented first-year class here at Cal State Fullerton.
That's right, and the best thing about them is that they're all very hard workers. They're all very close friends, and they help each other in the gym, and it's very exciting to see. It helps the team. They're pulling for each other when they're up on the event, and that's exciting.
On the rings now, UCLA. And the Bruin men off to a fast start here tonight. They had a substantial lead. In fact, we now have the two event scores in. UCLA with a 91.15 to Cal State Fullerton's 88.25. So actually, Carol, the Cal State Fullerton men came up a bit.
Yes, they did. Their floor is a very strong event for them because they have Andy's routine, which is very good.
And the dismount for the Bruins. Now let's switch back to the uneven bars, and Julie Goey, whose top score this year on the uneven bars is a 9.45.
She's getting ready for her dismount. Toe on. Comedy off. One step back. Looked like it was a good routine. No breaks. You can always count on Julie for a routine that's very consistent.
Yeah, while she is not maybe the most spectacular one, she is certainly consistent. I mean, she's right there in that 9.45 or 9.50 range, isn't she?
That's right. That's pretty high consistent. She's a very large, very tall girl, and she has to move the bars up 2 notches and move them out as far as they go. And she still touches the floor when she goes through the bottom of her swings.
Julie is the only senior on this squad, so certainly the other girls look to her for leadership and consistency.
That's right. Nice dismount. She wasn't expecting to be so high, and she stepped back out of it.
Chance right now, folks, for you to see perhaps a future Olympian. His name is Peter Vidmar, and we're going to look at his pommel horse. And you're seeing the highest score that Peter has received this year, 9.85.
I was talking to his coach earlier, who's coached him for 10 years. He coached Peter when he was younger, and then he went to UCLA, and Peter followed him to UCLA. There he just did a handstand on the pommel, made it look very easy, but I don't think it was. And his coach was saying that he keeps getting better and better. Had a slight form break on his legs. There's another handstand dismount. Very nice.
Impressive.
Right. There.
You look at the athletes on all 4 of these teams, you don't see really an ounce of fat on any of them. I mean, they're lean, mean jumping machines, aren't they?
Yeah, these gymnasts are working out 5 to 6 hours a day, if not more, if you add the running and the weightlifting into that. And there's just no time to get fat. There you can see his legs are very split so they don't brush on the horse. His head, his shoulders are up very high. He's very extended in the arms. Look how high those scissors are going up and over the horse.
Carol, besides Vidmar, who are some of the other Bruins that you feel might have a shot at national honors and perhaps a spot on the Olympic team in '84?
Okay, Tim Daggett is one. He's 4th in the country right now all around, and he was on the World Championship team in 1981. So they have high hopes for him in 1983 and also in 1984. There's that handstand dismount again.
All right, now we go from Vidmar on the pommel horse to Peter Vidmar on the rings.
There's an iron cross, and he pulled it up into an L sit. Pressed up into a handstand. Now you'll notice the rings aren't even shaking or swinging at all. Oh, he just got a little bit of swing on that last. To a handstand. Swing down. Getting ready for his dismount. Oh my, what an exciting dismount. I think that was 3 twists, but it only could have been 2. It was so fast.
Well, Magic Johnson leads Showtime at the Forum, and this is Peter Vidmar with Showtime at Titan Gymnasium. Look at this.
Look at the extension he has coming through there. Right up into a handstand position, straight arms. Here it comes again, picking up more momentum the second time. There's 1 twist, there's 2, and there's the 3rd. So he did do 3 twists.
Amazing routine by Peter Vidmar at UCLA. We have now the 2 event scores for the women. The Titans have completed work on the vault and the uneven bars. They have a score of an even, or odd if you will, 93.00. And UCLA completing work on the bars and the vault in that order with a score of 92. So we told you it would be close, and it is right there, nip and tuck.
It is. The girls are warming up on beam right now. That's why they look a little bit relaxed, and they're going one right after another.
The Titan ladies will be on the beam first. UCLA will be doing the floor exercises, and then they will switch around. And remember, the women have 4 events. They're done. The men have 6 events.
The men's events are basically a lot shorter, the routines. Once we get to beam and floor, it takes a while. But rings is short for men, and also parallel bars. So it sort of evens out the meet, even though they have 6 events.
KDOC brings a classic back to television. Weeknights at 9, watch Dragnet with Jack Webb as Sergeant Joe Friday and Harry Morgan as Officer Bill Gannon. Dragnet, weeknights at 9, right here on KDOC TV, Channel 56. Earlier tonight, David Higgins of Cal State Fullerton performing the floor exercise. Look at the spring in that young man's legs.
That's right. I hope the assistant coach is Ron Howard for Dick Wolf for the CSUF team, and hopefully Dave will be another Ron Howard. He's got spring, and he's got another 4 years with the team. Nice side, very high.
I hope we can get a shot later, too, of Ron Howard, who right now is over near the vault area with Dick Wolf. He is quite a story, very much like Carol Johnston, an inspiration to lady gymnasts, not only here at Cal State Fullerton, but all over America. Similar thing could be said about Ron Howard.
That's right. He had a neck injury. He broke his neck. He didn't compete 1 year, and he came back and competed the next. And you just have to admire him for the courage that it takes to. And at nationals, he threw the same vault that he hurt his neck on, and he placed very well.
There are really a lot of inspiring stories in the world of gymnastics.
There you see his double full. He set very high for it. Unfortunately, he didn't get his feet up, and that means getting them up and starting your rotation. They were a little bit behind him, and that's why he had to jump forward in order to save his last tumbling pass.
There is Dick Wolf, 15 years, quite a promoter of gymnastics.
This is very hard for him because he has some gymnasts that are equally as good as the UCLA team, but then he doesn't have the depth that they have, and so it's very frustrating.
And without a Peter Vidmar, and there aren't many of those made in a good old USA, folks, it will be tough to compete. Again, we'd like to let you know that after 2 events for the ladies, and UCLA now getting ready for the rings.
This is Alex Schwartz, and he's a specialist on this event, and he's the 2nd in the collegiate championships for NCAA.
That was last year?
That was last year. He's got a slight arch, but he's holding it in a plans with an inverted cross. There's his cross in an L position. That is so difficult. Up into an L. Press to a handstand. Right up into another handstand. They make this look so easy. A layout double back. That's too bad about his landing because it was a very good routine.
Alex Schwartz obviously disappointed with the landing, too.
That's right. It was a good routine up until there. He just over-rotated a little bit too much. There we see it. Cross up into a handstand. Very little movement in the rings. Look at, he goes right through. His arms were very out wide, and that's very difficult. Getting ready for his dismount. There you go, more momentum. Look at the extension in his body. And he pulls it in, lays it out, slight knee bend, pikes over the last little bit. And that's, if he stayed a little bit more open, he would have landed perfectly.
As we started to tell you earlier, 2 events completed for both the men and women. Cal State Fullerton ladies ahead by a single point over UCLA after performances on the vault and the bars. Getting ready for the UCLA floor exercise. Fullerton 93, UCLA 92 after 2 events. The men of UCLA was with a substantial lead over the Titan men of Dick Wolf.
This is Kim Berry coming up on floor. Just waiting there for the judges to give her the go-ahead. There it is. She salutes the judge. That is very important. It's something that's always overlooked, but to salute the judge before and after a routine. You can be deducted for judge's impression.
How much of a deduction could that carry?
Only about 0.1 or 0.2, but all those little 0.2s add up.
Right. We're looking at Kim Berry of UCLA, floor exercises.
Mounts with a double full. Oops, she had a little bit of trouble and she stepped out of bounds. Kim was a class 1 gymnast that was a walk-on, and she's worked very hard, and now she competes for the team, which is very unusual nowadays in collegiate sports. Working into the corner. She looks a little stiff out there. You can tell she doesn't have the years behind her that some of these girls will.
Kim has performed tonight in the vault with a score of 9.0.
Getting ready for her last tumbling pass. Round up back handspring full. Into a turn. Little sloppy.
Very dramatic music and the routine of Kim Berry.
That's right. You can tell she's not on that turn. A more experienced gymnast would have been able to cover it up a little bit better than what she did.
KDOC Channel 56. Our expert analyst tonight, Carol Johnston, 1979 All-American from Cal State Fullerton.
Here's that turn. She sort of tripped out of it. Her ending was nice and strong. Very nice.
All right, another look at Kim Berry. And now, for the Bruins, here's Janet Ferrari on the floor exercise. We have a score, Carol, excuse me, UCLA 138.30, Cal State Fullerton 133.55. Men's score halfway through, 3 events.
Janet is noted as the hardest worker on the UCLA team. The coach has never seen a gymnast work as hard as she does, and she's considered the 4th all-around gymnast for him. That's a tough position because you have to always hit. You can't miss because it's 1, 2, 3, 4 have to be very high.
Young lady from Fremont, California. Waiting for, what, an acknowledgement from the judges?
That's right. She just got that. On floor, it sometimes takes a long time to get the score from the other judge over to the head judge to make the decision of if the score is correct or not. And that's why there's a lag in time.
We hope you're enjoying tonight's gymnastics coverage NCAA style on KDOC, Channel 56.
Janet's using a different approach. She's starting with a very soft music. And I'm positive that it's going to build and burst out of that corner. Here it comes. There it goes. Double full. Music to dance to. It's got a nice little beat. Just moving very well. Just flying through the routine. It's very fast. A lot of running. Nice dive. Tinsica. Full turn. Now she's slowing it down a little bit. Arms moving. Arms went to the music perfectly. That's very important to do, to get the arms and the music to coincide. Because if you don't, the routine is lost. Either the music dominates or the routine dominates, and it's not together. See how important that was at the very end?
So you would rate that a pretty good routine then?
It was good. It wasn't the best that she could have done it.
Janet Ferrari of UCLA a moment ago, and now, well, I think this is the toughest event, has to be, the rings. Look at the strength needed in the arms.
That's right, and you're also up in the air about 12 feet. That's the bottom of the rings, not, not where his toes are. It's very high. Oops, as you can see, it is very dangerous.
And a diving attempt by Dick Wolf. You think he cares about those guys or not? That is a pretty good example of,
That's right.
of his concern.
Now you can see in his hand, he's carrying something. His hand grip ripped right off. That's how much power is on the hands.
How much pressure they're putting on.
That's right. Here, we're going to take another look at the fall. See, right here, there's so much stress. That's his hand slipped right off the ring, going into his dismount. Now that's very scary because you've got all this momentum and there's nowhere to go.
And I believe that was Doug Van Everen, wasn't it, Carol?
Yes, I think so.
The freshman from Boulder, Colorado. Could have been much worse. Both Van Everen and Dick Wolf, for that matter, were extremely fortunate. Back to the floor exercise, and again a look at one of the Bruins of UCLA.
This is Chris Montera, and she started in a very unusual position. She started in a back arch, which is very hard to get into gracefully, but she did it perfectly. Now she's working to the Chariots of Fire, which is a favorite theme of my husband.
We have a last-minute substitution, apparently, for Montera. Her name is Gigi. I like the name.
Gigi.
And,
they switched on us.
This is a last-minute substitution in the beam. Embandos. Gigi Embandos. Floor exercise now.
She used to compete with Kim Fischler. She was on the same team, the Parkettes, and so they're friends, and they're both out here on the West Coast.
Well, if I could do a good Marie Chevalier impersonation, I would try to add a little French flair to the pronunciation. Gigi
She's a
Embandos.
little bit ahead of her music there.
Again, we will bring you up to date on the scores, the top individual scores as we progress tonight. We can tell you that after two events, the Cal State Fullerton ladies leading UCLA 93-92, the men well in front for UCLA ahead of Cal State Fullerton.
Gigi didn't look too pleased about her routine. she was a little bit ahead of her music, and you can see she's slowing down, but she can't slow it down that much. And the weight. She doesn't look too pleased.
You really get a feel for that, don't you? After you finish, you can kind of look in their eyes and see whether they were satisfied with it.
That's right.
This is Tanya Rogers.
She's concentrating on what she has to do, calming herself down, getting ready for her mount. Front on, nice mount. Oh, that's so nice and high. She landed 3 feet past the end of the beam. That means that she went at least 6 feet in the air to clear the end of the beam, which is 4 feet high, and to land a foot high, too. It's working very well. She had a slight wobble there. Getting ready for her tumbling. Take a step, get set. Pulls her arms up. Back handspring, back handspring. Not as tight as it could have been. She loosened up a little bit. Now she's dancing. To aerial cartwheel. Oh no, she had a fall. An aerial cartwheel is very difficult to do on the beam. You're landing sideways, and you have to transfer your sideways momentum into a dead stop, and it's very difficult. Side leap. Don't fall on a full turn. That's the worst thing that you can ever do. I've seen so many gymnasts perform a perfect routine, tumbling, difficult, and then they fall off on a simple full turn. It's because mentally they let up. They say, oh, this is easy, and they miss it. Full dismount.
Okay, we have some news too. Doug Van Everen, who you saw a moment ago on the rings, he is going to get another shot, according to the judges, because of equipment failure. You noticed the strap had broke, so Doug will get another shot. We'll come back and see more. NCAA gymnastics right here on KDOC, channel 56, between UCLA and Cal State Fullerton after this timeout. Cal State Fullerton.
He's having a little bit of difficulty. You can tell by looking at his routine and the UCLA man that he's not as strong. He's not working as aggressively on this event. Into an L. Swinging just a slight amount. His toes weren't pointed, and then he realized to tighten up, and he pointed them.
Tom's highest score on this event has been a 9.15.
Nice dismount.
So Tom Pace, the junior from Garden City, New York, finishing up. We didn't have a chance to see it, and we'll comment after Carol comments on Tom Pace's routine here.
Here goes press handstand. Trying to get steady before he goes into his dismount. Swing down. Prepares for it again. There's one twist and one double back, and there's the second back. It's just dropping out of it. Nice dismount.
All right, Tom Pace. Robbie Campbell of UCLA just received a few minutes ago one of the highest marks. 9.9 on the vault for Robbie Campbell a few minutes ago. And this is Julie Goey now on the vault. You see her highest score of the year right there, 9.05.
Now, usually Julie will score 9.5, 9.6 on beam. She's had some difficulty on this event this year. Let's watch and see how she does tonight. She's moving very well. Moves up onto her toes. Now remember, this is 4 inches wide, and she's moving very quickly and aggressively.
And again, you might give the time allotment too.
For a beam routine, it's 1:10 to 1:30, so they're up there for a while. And I know as a gymnast, once you mount, you just want to get off. There you see the men stretching out their shoulders on P-bars, going mentally through their routines just to warm up.
All right, we go back to the rings. I believe this is Doug Van Everen. And if you are joining us a bit late, Doug was on the rings earlier, but because of equipment failure, is getting a second opportunity with this routine. All eyes on Doug, the only action really in this 4-ring circus tonight.
That's right. Everyone wants to see him do well because he did have that accident. Nice double back dismount.
Well, you look at these gymnasts, these are not the kind of guys that you want to kick sand in their face at the beach, I'll tell you. Here is Julie Walsh now, getting ready for her
She does
routine.
a handstand mount.
Does that score higher or lower than the other type of mounts?
No, it's just an easier mount. You want to get on as safe as you can. Tanya's is a higher scoring mount. But this is just as efficient, and it's pretty. And it takes care of a handstand requirement. There she's working the beam like a pommel horse. Again, the women's gymnastics is taking movements from the men's and putting it onto our events, which is beam and bars. Nice aerial cartwheel. She's been having problems with that aerial cartwheel also. A little wobble on the full turn.
This meet between UCLA and Cal State Fullerton really is too close to call. Two very evenly matched teams that should do well in the nationals this year. They should be right there for the NCAA championship.
That's right. They'll be, either one will be ahead of the other one. And we don't know which way right now.
That's right. Fullerton was leading after two events, 93-92.
Again, the girls are hitting their tumbling and missing their dance. They're loosening their body. They're not thinking about what they have to do in dance. And that's something that you have to train yourself to, is always be thinking in the present. A gainer full twist off the side. Very minor breaks, no major falls. There's a minor, but she saved it. Bent her knees. It's important when you're falling off the beam is to bend those knees to get your center of gravity down close to the beam. It's a lot easier to save. Getting ready. A gainer is, she takes off of one foot, does a full twist just from the momentum of one foot and the swing of the other.
A look at Julie Walsh. You hear the voice of Carol Johnston, our expert analyst tonight, NCAA gymnastics at Cal State Fullerton here on KDOC, Channel 56. Andy Pacho on the rings now for Fullerton.
He's got he stopped his swing. You could see he was swinging before, and he took it right out of the rings.
Andy's best event, the floor exercise, obviously.
He's got nice form, pointed toes. I think that's something he brought from the girls' events into his style of gymnastics, is he has nice form. Full twisting double back, dismount. He landed with straight legs. That's always hard on the knees.
You're looking now at the warm-up of the high bar. By the way, Andy Pacho, his highest score coming in tonight was a 9.3 on the rings. And again, we go now to the Fullerton Titans, the Lady Titans, if you will.
I just heard the coach say this is an exhibition with Chris Weber.
Right.
She does a back hip circle around the beam, which is taken from the uneven bars.
Now, how does Lynn Rogers determine which girls will do the routines for scores and which ones do it for exercise?
He looks at how they've been working out the previous week, and then he makes his decision from that.
Okay, Chris Weber, this will not count in the scoring.
No.
Merely a chance for her to perform in front of this very large crowd, obviously the biggest crowd of the year at Titan Gym, and they expect a packed house here next week as well when Arizona State University comes in. And the Sun Devils loaded with talent on both the men's and women's squads. You can see that action right here next week on KDOC TV, Channel 56, exactly 1 week from tonight.
That's right. They're coming back to beat Fullerton. Last year, they missed winning and stopping the Titans win streak, and they're coming back ready. In fact, they're probably priming for this meet, and they're not even worrying about nationals right now.
Get to know Orange County on Orange County Today with your host, Pat Michaels, Monday through Thursday nights at 7 p.m. right here on KDOC TV, Channel 56.
That was a good routine by Chris. It wasn't aggressive, but she stayed on, and that's what we have to do right now, is just get through the routines and stay on.
Right, we stay on the beam now. We're going to look at some action filmed a bit earlier this evening, and this is Lynn Olson.
She fell off on her mount. She does the same mount as Tanya Rogers, which is the front tuck onto the end of the beam. Double back handspring.
Give you some idea at home, Lynn's score on this was an 8.7.
That's about right. With one fall, she would have been up in the 9.2, 9.3 area. Nice full turn. She has beautiful dance. She flows on beam. She moves very well. Getting ready for tumbling, which is a front, tuck front on beam. Nicely done. She lands very low on that, and then she pops up, so it still looks like she had lots of height. Nice scale. She's a bit cautious there. She's got to work on and flowing in that part, making it look like she does it every day, 10 times a day, 20 times a day.
Lynn Olson of Cal State Fullerton.
Gain her back. She had a lot of thought going into that. Again, that's a stop. The judges are looking for this. You've got to keep working and trying to work those stops out before you do your tumbling. Here's her dismount, full twisting dismount. It was an average routine. It wasn't an excellent routine. Whoa, look at the height that he just got.
You're looking at Tom Pace of Cal State Fullerton as we swing, if you pardon the pun, into action here. The high bar. KDOC.
He's doing an excellent routine. Nice hand change there. Full twisting hecht.
Looked pretty good.
Nice routine. They're happy about that.
Tom Pace, Tom, a junior from Garden City, New York. And he's considered an all-around
Look
performer.
at how close he collapses. His knees are on his nose. Into an inverted eagle position going around in giant swings. Again. They make it look so easy, but the pull that he's feeling right at the bottom, and then still holding on. Look at the height. He's at least probably 20 feet in the air when he's doing that.
We're going to try to build up the suspense, increase the drama just a little bit here as you look at UCLA. The women's totals going into the final event for the ladies. And remember that Cal State Fullerton has not lost here in competition since 1976. The score after 3 events for the ladies, 137.7 for Fullerton, 137.45 for UCLA with 1 event to go.
That's right. It's close.
Okay, UCLA performing here, and this is Chris Casso.
Right, he's a sophomore for their team, so he still has a couple more years with them. And he's 10th in the nation.
Okay, Chris Casso finishing up there for the Bruins. And again, if you're a gymnastics fan or consider yourself an expert, you don't need to be reminded, but for those of you just joining us here on KDOC, the men have 6 events in which they compete, the women 4. And heading into this very important final bit of competition, you're looking at Dick Wolf here, the Cal State Fullerton women will be on the floor. They'll have the floor exercises. And let's check and see where UCLA is headed for. Channel 56, KDOC TV. The beam will be the competition for UCLA. And we're going to have a change in the rotation. It doesn't really affect what you're seeing right now. That is Andy Pacho getting ready. We go to the beam now for UCLA.
They're just warming up right now. What they're trying to do, they have a 30-second warm-up for each gymnast before they start, which is 3 minutes for the whole team. And they try to stay on the beam and feel confident about their routine, what they're going to do in their routine.
While we have a moment, and you're looking at the Titan floor exercise, Leanne Grotke, the fine women's athletic director of Fullerton, asked me to remind you that the Titans will be hosting the Western Regionals for the women on March 26th. More on that a bit later.
That's right. Here we're watching Kim Fischler. We haven't seen too much of her. She's had a back problem, but she's going to do her double full inner floor. We hope to see Kim get better for the Nationals. She's
only a freshman.
That's right. She's an important part of this team. She's a national ranked gymnast coming into college. Second pass is a whip over. Double the difficulty was very high for that tumbling pass.
Well, her teammates are really cheering. They are really trying to help her. And this is maybe the most important moment of the night for Fullerton, only ahead by fractions of a point against UCLA, trying to hold on to a 7-year home winning streak.
That's right. The music is very pretty. She's having a little bit of trouble with turns. Here she goes, a little jazzy. She's with the music. She's a neat dancer. She's having fun out there. Come on, Kim. Last tumbling pass. When you haven't been working out, that last pass seems like it takes forever to run down. Nice routine.
Lynn Rogers calls it the best recruiting class since he has been at Cal State Fullerton. And here's a reason why. Talented freshman Kim Fischler.
Doesn't that look fun? Here's where she takes that breath. She's a bit tired. You could tell by that little step that she had right before she went into her last tumbling pass. But again, it's hard to stay in shape for routines when you've been out with a back injury and not been doing anything.
This is Peter Vidmar of UCLA. We're showing you a lot of Vidmar tonight.
Oh, that was a nice handstand pirouette. He almost did the pirouette on one arm, dropped down into a kip going across the bars. Right up into a handstand. Oh, he missed.
So there's something you don't expect, somewhat of a surprise from a man that Dick Wolf says could win a gold medal in 1984 at the Olympics in Los Angeles. Peter Vidmar of UCLA.
And double back off the bar. Even the best in the world fall off.
Right.
And just sometimes it's new, but you know, it's early in the season, so there's still room for mistakes.
Okay, Peter Vidmar of UCLA, the Bruin men comfortably ahead at this point over the Titans of Dick Wolf. Let me ask you a question as we look at the Fullerton ladies getting ready. Heading into this final event, the Cal State Fullerton squad finishing up on the floor exercise, UCLA on the beam. Who would you give the advantage to? The Titans on the floor exercise?
I would give it to the Titans. They're very strong on floor, but I haven't seen UCLA on balance beam.
The applause you hear in the background, a pretty exciting performance.
It's so exciting. I keep looking up and seeing all these people around. Everywhere I look, there's people, and it's so exciting to see out on a Friday night watching college gymnastics. Penn State back east get 4,000, 2,000 people for each meet, and I'd like to see that happen out here.
Looking at Andy Pacho.
He's working very well.
And Pacho, that was taped earlier, and Andy received a 9.7.
He's pleased about that routine. Wolf's men are doing very well on high bar.
All right, the floor exercise as we get down to the nitty-gritty here. Final event.
Here goes Julie Walsh. Nice double full. Really landed high. She bounced out of it. That's okay. Nice high leaps. Again, she's using the classical music, which is her style. It fits her body type and her personality. That's so important. She stepped out a little bit there. That's a small deduction. She's walking around on her hands out there. The slow part of a floor routine is to show dance and movement instead of just tumbling and running around. To show your grace. Nice full, nice tight body position. Nice strong ending. Should be pleased, her teammates. Let's watch her last tumbling pass here. That's called a hurdle, and that just gets you more momentum. The roundoff changes your forward momentum into back momentum. And that's how you tumble out of it, usually.
Okay. KDOC TV, Channel 56, your station for sports in Orange County. Bob Harvey and Carol Johnston at Titan Gym. The UCLA and Cal State Fullerton ladies involved in a very close meet so far. And we go now to the high bar. This is Doug Van Everen.
He's having his problems
Yes, he's
tonight.
already slipped off the bar.
That's right. He's in an inverted position. He popped to a change. Now he's normal. To a double back flyaway dismount. He almost landed on the edge of the mat there, which is dangerous because of ankle problems.
Nobody more disappointed than Doug Van Everen right now.
That's right. You know, sometimes you just have those meets. Nothing goes right.
That's right. You could come out the next meet and get a whole bunch of 9-7s
right.
and 9-8s, huh?
That's right, because you correct your problems and you're even more aggressive toward the event.
All right, to the beam. And UCLA finishing up there tonight. Lynn Rogers said, my team can win the national championship. But they are being severely tested tonight by the Lady Bruins.
Okay, we're watching Gigi again on beam. She looks a little... That was a nice tumbling pass. She's not working it very smoothly, though. It's very pieced together. That was an interesting move. That was a walkover to... She slid right to her back.
Gigi Ambundos, UCLA.
She doesn't look too sure of herself right now. Nice full, double full turn. She saved it at the end. Two back handsprings. Her tumbling is very well done. There's the Olga Corbett move. Round up, cartwheel, full dismount.
Okay, we're going to come back for the conclusion of tonight's meet between UCLA and Cal State Fullerton right here on KDOC TV, Channel 56, right after this timeout. UCLA ready to go on the beam, and a chance to look at one of the very tough events. I think they're all tough, but I guess for gymnasts, this would be considered one of the toughest.
That's right. The gymnasts, the women consider beam the hardest, and the men consider pommel horse the hardest. Both are slower events, and they're hard to. If you make a mistake, they're hard to come back.
Now in the background, you might be hearing the UCLA men who are cheering a teammate on who is performing right now on the high bar. The floor exercise now while we wait for the Bruins to get ready. Julie Gowey.
I'd like to mention it's really hard. Sometimes when we're ready for a gymnast to go, the judges decide that they need to confer on a score, and that's why we have the time and we go to another event. Here goes Julie's floor. Opens up with a 1.5 to a round off full. Combination tumbling pass into a split leap. Here comes her hand movements. Hopefully the crowd will get with her. Run up back handspring full. You can see the size of the crowd here tonight. And Julie's playing to them. She's looking at certain people in the audience. I've sat over there and watched her routine, and she's looking at the crowd and smiling to them.
Would it be her family or a boyfriend maybe, or?
No, just maybe kids that she's coached or just anyone that she could focus on in the crowd.
Were you looking at Howard whenever you performed a few years ago?
No, I just looked out in the crowd.
I bet Howard was looking at you though, huh?
I don't know.
Julie Gowie, the only senior on this Cal State Fullerton squad.
Last tumbling pass, round off back handspring, full twisting dive roll. Nice move.
Nice round of applause from the crowd here.
She's happy. Julie's a senior, and this year she's just wanting to do her best and to perform and maybe have a chance at the World University Games held in Edmonton, Canada, which is up in my neck of the woods.
Your family's still living in where, Calgary?
Calgary.
KDOC Channel 56, our expert commentator tonight, Carol Johnston.
There we see the full twisting dive roll. Actually, it's a 1.5 because she's going backwards and she lands forwards. On this ending, Julie used to have a ponytail, and it used to flip up at the end, and I always thought it was a nice ending.
Okay. Are there some gymnasts? I noticed that the hair lengths do vary from Ronnie Barrios to Julie Gowie, who keeps it rather short. Nice smile. All right, here is Ronnie Barrios.
It all depends on the gymnast. Some of the younger girls coming in want to keep it long like they have been. Here's Ronnie's music again. It's got a sexy beat.
Little seductive start to the
That's
routine.
right. Years ago, the judges used to frown upon that, but now they've opened up and it's very acceptable.
I think it has really added a lot of spectator interest to the sport.
Nice tumbling pass. 1.5 twist to round off full. This music always makes me want to get up and dance. Nice leap, and her toe touched her head. There's a triple full twist. Yay! That is as difficult as a double full layout tumbling. That full twist is worth just as much, and it's very difficult. She made it look easy. You heard her teammates yell when she did that. Round off, back handspring, double full. Oh, and she saved it. She's so aware. She can, her toes, her heel, if it touched down, it would have been out, but she didn't. Nice turn. Different position. I always think of Taller Cranston, the skater that always has different positions when Ronnie does a routine.
Looked like a very good routine for Ronnie Barrios.
That's right. She's pleased.
And the
She's
team
excited.
is too. Looks like a lot of camaraderie tonight among the Titan ladies and, for that matter, UCLA as well. We go now to the high bar, and this is Casso for UCLA.
Look at how fast he's moving around that bar. He does a one-arm giant into a catch, knock down the assistant coach, who is also assistant of the national coach for the United States. Double layup. Oh my, that was a great routine. Oh, I know how hard one-arm giants are, but that was unbelievable.
And Chris Casso went over there and kind of said, "Excuse me," to the assistant coach. Nice routine. That should score well. You're looking at the UCLA performer now on the beam, and I would like to take this opportunity as we see the finish of that routine to tell you that after 4 events, the UCLA men leading the Titan men by a score of 232.35 to 220.04. Here is Robbie Campbell of UCLA, taped earlier this evening on KDOC.
Come on, man, get tough.
Our fine crew tonight, headed by executive producer Hoshi Modelli, producer Larry Ward, director Ed Wilson, our TD, and part-time director did a marvelous job for us the other night, Greg Hodson, and the assistant director, Tammy Lanham.
I think it's Janet.
I believe this is Janet Ferrari,
That's
taped
right.
earlier this evening for UCLA. As you look at this routine, remember the Cal State Fullerton women will be hosting the Western Regionals on March 26th. 7 teams competing in the California, Oregon, Washington area, UCLA, Oregon State, and of course the women of Lynn Rogers, the top contenders. And don't forget, 1 week from tonight on Channel 56, Fullerton against Arizona State.
She's not working beam. She's a little stiff on beam. She does a nice front full 1.5 off the end. And she received an 8.7 for that routine, which is about right. It's not in the 9 category. She's a little shaky. And we're watching Tanya on floor.
The muscular but elegant Tanya Rogers.
That's right. She can dance. She's wonderful to watch because she's light and she flows. Nice full twist. Oops. She had a little bit of trouble there. Her sake, which is her gym shoe, stuck to the mat.
Tanya Rogers, Cal State Fullerton.
Nice ending. It's too bad. Oh, the team's out on the floor. She must have done a nice routine. Nice set. Nice high full. Now this is where she has the difficulty. Her foot sticks, and that's too bad. It's a 0.3 deduction, 0.4 deduction.
That's
nice strong ending.
Really one of those things you have no control over, is it? I mean, if it happens, it happens.
It happens. There's not a lot you can do.
A look at Andy Pacho. He's getting ready for his exercise. Andy, I think, has been the top performer this evening for the Cal State Fullerton men.
I think so. He's very strong on a couple of events, and his all-around is getting up there. He still has to work on certain events.
Watch Another Life and Romance Theater, a full hour of love and romance. We have a lot of that going on in our truck tonight. Weekdays beginning at 9 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. here on KDOC TV, Channel 56.
If you're wondering why I stopped in the middle of my sentence, I saw a guy fly off high bar a little bit low for his dismount. My heart's still beating.
Andy Pacho here. The backdrop of the KDOC TV 56 sports sign there in the background.
Up into a handstand. He's moving really well. Wolf's standing in for something. You can see him at the very bottom of the screen. Up into a handstand. Nice move. Double back dismount. Very nice routine. Again, no form breaks. Very rarely will you see a form break on Andy.
Hey, we're going to watch for his score because he is very happy, and I think Dick Wolf feels that this should get a very high score.
There he did a kip, and he changed his hands, and he came right up into a handstand.
All right, this is Peter Vidmar of UCLA, ready on the high bar.
We should see some exciting things from him. He is one of the best in the country. He is known worldwide. He's moving very well. Nice vault. He's way up in the air. Oh, on a layout. Did a layout away from the bar and regrasped it. Inverted giant to another. Oh, he's moving so well. And he's not even stopping. A lot of times guys will catch and stop. They will lose their momentum, but he keeps it going. Oh, what an exciting routine. He's building up for his dismount. Double layout.
Oh, boy.
Perfect body position. No pike in the hips. That's one error that a lot of the gymnasts make is when they do a layout, they pike in the hips, but his was totally straight.
He put on a show for the fans here at Titan Gym. What a great performance by Peter Vidmar.
Look how far away from the bar he is, and he's still high enough. He's got his eye on the bar. As soon as he can get his head around so he can regrasp. Keeps the momentum going. Casts up. He's exciting to watch.
Remember the name, folks, Peter Vidmar, 1984 Olympics. He could be wearing gold for the United States.
And look at his form. It's perfect, too. It's just, that's so important. Those 2/10 for form every time. They add up. Here he goes. He's getting ready for his dismount. One more time. Here he comes. Let's go. perfect body position. He's pulling his toes, you can just see, and around they come into his dismount.
What a marvelous athlete. His score on the high bar, 9.9 for Peter Vidmar.
That's right, I couldn't see anything wrong with it.
What a great performer. That has been the highlight, I think, here tonight so far. That particular event and that particular performance by Peter Vidmar of UCLA.
There really is a difference between nationally ranked gymnasts and just the average college teams. You can see it tonight, and it's so exciting to see that we do have the talent here, and they can get scholarships to compete and to continue with their sport.
There are some gymnasts possibly in Nebraska maybe who would dispute the fact that Peter Vidmar is the #1 gymnast in the United States, but not many. And we certainly look forward to following his career on the road to Los Angeles in 1984.
That's right. After tonight, he is one of the best. I have not seen too many people as good.
All right, the action has concluded here at Titan Gym for both the men and the women. And we will be bringing you the scores, tally them up right after we pause for this timeout. NCAA Gymnastics on KDOC TV 56 continues in just a moment. We have returned to Titan Gym, and congratulations to the couple right there celebrating their first wedding anniversary. Congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's give you the scores here. Lynn Rogers was concerned coming into this meet that perhaps the Titan women may have the 7-year winning streak snapped. It didn't happen tonight. 184.1 for the Titan ladies, 180.4 for UCLA. The all-around figures, Fullerton had the second and third tonight. Julie Gowie second and Tanya Rogers third. As far as the men's scores, UCLA won as expected, 279.05, 264.95 for Cal State Fullerton. And Carol has a couple of happy performers. Carol?
With me, I have Lynn Rogers, the coach of Cal State Fullerton, and Tanya Rogers, who is a freshman on the team. And first of all, I'd like to ask Tanya, how did you feel tonight about your performance?
I was pretty relaxed. Last meet, I wasn't that much relaxed. But I'm really proud of myself tonight. I have no mistake. I didn't have as many mistakes as last meet. I'm just really happy.
That's good. Lynn, how do you feel about tonight's meet? I know you were a little bit nervous going into this.
I like it in the W column, first of all. UCLA's got a very respectable program, and to beat them is it's a good feeling. We're going to have to work a little harder and do a little better if we want to beat Arizona State next weekend, and we can take care of that, so the working hard part anyway.
When did you realize that you had the meet won?
I think when the score was as close as it was going into floor and UCLA going into beam. We've got a really strong floor team this year, the strongest we've ever had, even when you were competing, and I felt pretty confident at that point in time.
Tanya, how do you feel about next week's meet?
I'm geared up now. This meet was one meet that really made it for me, because next week I'm ready to get after it again.
Good. Well, good luck to you, and good luck to Lynn next week.
Thank you, Carol.
Bob?
Okay, thank you, Coach. Thank you, Tanya. All right. So once again, Cal State Fullerton ladies win. They have not lost here in 7 years plus, and they are still in good shape heading for that possible national championship this year. And, of course, the big meet 1 week from tonight, Cal State Fullerton against Arizona State, both the men and women. And keep in mind that Arizona State defeated the ladies, their only loss of the year in the Aloha Festival. For Carol and for the entire KDOC TV Channel 56 crew, Bob Harvey bidding you a very pleasant good night from Titan Gymnasium.